Hi everyone, welcome to the Introduction to Tableau workshop. As interns, we're all university students. We have this free access to Tableau with our Get Free student license. So you can find this at tableau.com/university-students. And then go ahead, follow the instructions to sign up with your student account. And then we'll be looking to download Tableau Desktop 2021.2. So I suggest you pause the video now, sign up your student account, download Tableau Desktop 2021.2 or the latest version of Tableau Desktop, and then open the Tableau window to continue. We're going to be using today Google datasets, or a dataset from Google datasets rather. So in order to find that, just simply go on Google and enter in Google datasets. And then you can search Global Superstore. And then you should see a list of datasets on the left. We can see it's in zip file. So go ahead and download this data set if you're following along with the tutorial, or use your own data set, and that's okay too. So I'm going to go open into Tableau, and this should be the page that you see initially. We're going to create a blank Tableau workbook. But first we're going to connect to an Excel file. So these are different file formats that you can connect to on Tableau. And we're going to use Excel. So you can imagine this is going to be an output from maybe some machine learning you've done in your research. So this is visualizing your results at the end. And we may have them stored in an Excel file. So I'm going to search for the store. And I've got my Global Superstore Excel SM file here. And once you're connected, you should see the following format on the Tableau GUI. And we can inspect all our data here. But what we're going to do is we're going to want to go to a worksheet. So click on sheet 1, and we should have all our column names by default down the left-hand side here. And just to give you a sense of the power of Tableau, I'm just going to load a pre-done Tableau workbook. Show you the capabilities of Tableau before we go on with our examples. So we can create dashboards, which are these 5 files or tabs down the bottom here, which is comprised of all our different worksheets to the right of the dashboards. And then we can create a story or a data story with these little buttons up at top here, and we can basically run through from panel to panel. It does take a bit of time to load initially when you're opening up the workbook. So we can have, this is an example of an end product, if you will, from Tableau. So we can see we've got our story where we're basically running through a presentation of our results or data insights that we've generated. So that's just a little example to show you the capabilities of Tableau in terms of visualization, but we'll go back to building our first example here. So I'm going to drag the months or date, order date. And I'm going to want this format in year. And I'm going to want to filter in for only the year 2014. So I'm only interested in looking at the, you can see we've got 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014 data here, but I'm just going to go with the latest year. So in the same way, I'm going to drag and drop this down in filters. I'm going to select years next, and I'm going to highlight or select 2014 and press OK. And that reduces the data that I'm visualizing down to the 2014 level. I'm going to remove the header here by right-clicking and then click Show Header. Actually, I'll keep that. Rather, I'm just going to double-click, go down to Access Titles, remove all that, and maybe just write something like year. Press Escape, and you'll see that's been changed there. Now I'm going to go back to the left here, look to my continuous data. So I'm going to go to my profit. I'm going to drag that down to rows. I'm going to keep it at the default, which is sum. And then I'm going to want to get the quarters for the year. I'm going to remove the old year label. So now I should just have a filter for the year 2014 and my 4 quarters for 2014 and the sum of profit for each quarter. The same here, I'm going to remove this by double-clicking or hide, right-click, and then that was, so I'm going to Command-Z, right-click, hide field labels, just to remove some noise from the visual. Next, I'm going to want to add some color. So I'm going to drag and drop market to color. And you can see I'm going to segment my sales data across different markets here. So I've got Africa, APAC, Canada, EMEA, EU, LATAM, and US. And now I'm going to want to create a set because I'm interested in highlighting the performance. As you can see, there's quite a lot of noise with the colors here, and it's quite difficult to interpret, but we can see quite an interesting outperformance of APAC, or significant growth compared to other markets. So if we want to highlight some data, I'm going to create a set. I'm going to go to Market, right-click, go down to Create, Set. And I'm just going to select APAC. I'm going to call this APAC market, and I'm going to click Select. I'm also going to drag market to the text label. So right now, if I go on, I can see some pop-up window to the right of the mouse, or bottom right of the mouse, market, quarter of order date, and profit. When I drag market to text label, I'm also going to get a label for the market onto the visual. I'm also going to want to make this a bit of a wider, less confined visual. So I'm going to spread it out like this. On color, I'm going to click here, click Edit Colors. That's okay. I'm going to click Label. I'm going to go into Font. I'm going to click Match Mark Color. So I want this text APAC to be orange, the E to be green, the LATAM to be yellow, etc., just to make it a bit easier to interpret and a bit nicer, a bit prettier. And I'm going to add some bold in there. And then I'm going to click there, click out of it. And I'm also going to remove these grid bars here. There's quite a lot of them. We could either make them maybe every 10,000, so there's not every 5,000, or just completely remove them all together. I'm going to completely remove them all together. So I'm going to go to these lines here. I'm going to click on grid lines, none, and that should remove all the grid lines for me. That's optional and up to you based on your interpretation of aesthetic. I'm also going to edit the axis here and make the tick marks perhaps every, let's say every 10,000. So let's go with that. Just a little less noise, a few less points to observe on the image. And now I'm going to take my set that I created earlier, and I am going to put this into size. So I'm going to double click on here, then I'm going to click reversed so that we have our inset is the one that's standing out. Maybe a little less thick, it's a bit too abrasive. And we should see it start to stand out a little bit. Last thing I'm going to do is add it to color. And so that we get this nice definition of the, it's that the grays are a bit bold. I'm going to lighten up the gray. By selecting the Seattle grays, and then I'm going to click on out, give it a lighter gray, just remove a bit of that noise. And now we can really see the APAC start to stand out. And we can give this a more appropriate header. So we can say something like APAC significantly outperformed other markets by growth in 2014. And we can add a bit of blue here just to give it a bit of connectivity to the blue in the graph. And we shall leave it at that. We can add in, we can add in something like a annotation. So I'm just going to annotate a point here. I'm going to look for somewhere in the white space. Annotate point. I'm just going to want to say, let's look at how much the growth. So 58,000 at the end, 19,000, so about 30,000 or $29,000 growth approximately from Q1 to Q4. So I'm going to annotate that here. APAC accounted for was it 39,000? $39,000 profit growth between Q1 and Q4 2014. Give that a bit of color, make it a bit easier to read. And a bit of boldness. We've got the bold there. Add a comma for a bit of space there. Maybe we've got 2014 in the header, so maybe we'll just remove 2014. I'm going to drag and drop this a bit. I want my point to be referring to the line here, so I'm going to do that. Move this down into the white space a bit more. Bit of a alignment. I would prefer it to be left aligned. Trying to get this all in 2 lines. There we go. And lastly, I'm going to add in some blue shading here. So I'm looking for probably maybe that blue, that one there, just to give it a bit of more connection to the chart. And now I have a reasonable looking line chart here where we're really highlighting APAC outperforming other regions. So this is our introduction to Tableau. There's a lot more you can do in here, and the best way to learn is by doing. So connect your data or your results to the Tableau GUI and begin experimenting away. As RD says here, he was an economics major at Michigan State, didn't learn in the classroom, but myself, RD, we know that you can very much teach yourself Tableau, and the best way to learn is by experimenting, trial and error, and looking up tutorials, documentation, demonstrations as needed based on what you're looking to implement into your visualization. So if you want to do something like I've done, where you want to differentiate the color from the rest, you can experiment away by yourself and then look for extra resources, whether that's on Tableau documentation, whether that's through us as intern mentors or myself, or whether that is through a Google search looking for tutorials, documentation, etc. So I hope this helps, and I hope you can use some Tableau visualizations to aid the visualization, communication, presentation of your